So I guess we're watching another Transformer video. I guess it's like part 2 of the one we watched last time. So yeah, let's watch more stuff about Transformers. BGM off. There you go.
Well,
the channel Diamondbolt, and this is the world of Transformers in 2022.
Finally happened. I ran out of money. It's been over a year now since I made my last video talking about Transformers toys, which I'm still amazed was received as well as it was, considering it's literally like 15 minutes of me losing my mind. But upon rewatching that video, I realized it's actually a lot more complainy than I otherwise would have liked. And so I thought it might be nice to do a follow-up that's a bit more positive this time. And there is no better time for me to gush about these things than right now with how incredible the toys have been this year. So I'll just say some nice things while also still complaining about it.
I was gonna say, like, is the meme or are they actually good in 2022? Did they fix everything in 1 year?
Okay, so a lot has happened in a year since the first video, both in the toy scene and for my bank account. So just for starters, I'll run you through a list of some of the guys I actually managed to track down that I said I was chasing last year through a series of some very poor financial choices. I literally didn't accomplish anything in an entire year, but you bet I finally tracked down all the protector bots. My mum is so proud of me. I got me some core-class dudes who are surprisingly a lot better than I thought they would be for their size. I hear that one from girls a lot. And another Titan with the Arc who now has made me want to buy the rest of them.
Boy.
Good fucking luck with that.
300 bucks.
Sideswipe and Mirage Kingdom 2-packs, but then actually ended up keeping the Grimlock and Skywarp because they're kind of awesome. Some very
this one is cool.
On Facebook
this one is
sold
cool.
me a Siege Skywarp who still feels like a hallucination whenever I walk in the room.
Short video.
I ended up with a couple of Takara Legends thanks to some lucky deals on Marketplace, and I can now personally confirm that they are considerably better than the American counterparts, and we are all being ripped off. My hunt for all of the Earthrise exclusives is nearly over. I'd somehow managed to find 3 out of the 5 other seekers. Thundercracker and Skywarp through Amazon and Thrust through one very poorly thought out night on eBay. But even after a year of searching, I still cannot find anyone selling Ramjet and Dirge for anything less than like $400. And I'm becoming convinced they don't even really exist. I did get Earthrise Ratchet after he randomly appeared on Amazon for way too much money, but he kind of sucks. Honestly, don't even bother going after this one. Easily has to be the most boring $90 I've ever spent. And
it was kind of bland.
Runabout, yes, to my surprise, is exactly the same as Run Amok, but black and red, and definitely not at all worth 3 times the retail price. And please, just to be clear, I'm not telling you all of this to brag, but just to show you how empty my life has become. But none of that even matters now.
Full of toys, I mean.
Trilogy that started
if he's happy, he's happy,
is
I guess.
Over, and we now have its brand new successor, which is Transformers Legacy.
Okay.
It's unclear so far if Legacy is just going to be...
By the way, if anyone watching is fan of Transformers, I just reacted to 2 Transformers songs. The day before and today, so you can check it out. 2 Transformers song reaction that I did. It was Independence Day. Well, happy late Independence Day.
1 year thing, or if it's going to go on for longer, but oh my god, I hope
it's
here to stay. Not that the War for Cybertron series wasn't already amazing, and also Sunstreaker, but even only 2 waves in, I genuinely think Legacy would have to be my favorite Transformers toy line ever. I mean, anything that has the confidence to open with...
I ain't gonna lie, I don't really love most of the design. Like, so far, like, in everything is showing, you know, for my taste, I guess, you know, I would say I like maybe 20% of the design. Like, a lot of them, and obviously I know Transformer is meant to be like a kid kind of design thing, but yeah, a lot of them feel childish in a way that I'm not super into, not that I mind childish thing. So I'd say like 80% of the design I'm not super into. Like this one just, you know, I guess it's probably hard to make something look cool when it's supposed to be like a humanoid robot that looks half like a car or plane or something. But yeah, I don't know.
Secticon is my kind of toy line. Legacy is keeping in with the
some
same
of them are
general
cool,
engineering from the previous line, so everything fits in together really nicely. But now they're applying it to more difficult things like a combiner team, where somehow the individual dudes look good on their own and in vehicle mode, and also when they're combined. I guess Legacy's Menacer is a bit different to how they've done combiners before, in that it adheres a bit more to the 80s cartoon, where unlike other combiners, Menacer is just kind of wearing the other Stunticons instead of them properly forming the limbs.
So silly.
But if it means the toys can gonna be
So
this
silly.
good, then I don't care. Hasbro, look, you can try and play hard to get on your Instagram and pretend these things are for parents, but I can't imagine a
Parents.
7-year-old is going to be particularly fussed as to whether Blitzwing's tank mode is accurate to season 2 of the 1985 cartoon. They don't have to make them this good, but they do it for us. And it is especially admirable how much effort they put into these things when the cartoon it's based off of had animators that probably put in about 5 seconds. And as much as I love me some Autobots,
Well,
I think Legacy is actually the first line I can think of in a while
fair
that has
enough.
a higher
I can't
ratio
even
of
argue.
cons to bots, which is amazing to see, especially given that Kingdom had like what, 3? I fucking love the Insecticons, and to see even just one of them finally get a deluxe sized toy after like 50 years of baby
I do like
ones
this
is
design.
incredible. And
Yeah.
Motormaster is super good and a huge improvement over the previous Brick. And Blitzwing, oh my god. I know some people had issues with his tank and jet mode looking like that, but at least in terms of his robot
Looks
mode,
fine to
Legacy
me.
has
I don't
been
know.
absolutely knocking it out of the park with every single figure. So Hasbro, whenever you want to send me free figures, just let me know. My address is PO Box 405. The quality increase has unfortunately come with quite a price hike though. For
That's
those
sick.
who remember when I talked about size classes from last year,
But
deluxes go
wasn't it already like insanely priced when it was kind of not great? I thought that's what it was.
almost as much as the next size class now at like $36 each,
Hmm.
and Voyagers go for like $50 to $55,
Bankai.
which is like $10 more. Leaders cost close to $100 now, which is why when they chuck shit in like this with them, it becomes kind of annoying. Personally, I'm still happy to keep buying the figures, especially when they've been this good, but I think some people are now having issues with choosing between the new G-Axis and having to eat for the week. Legacy does have a gimmick, but it's
That's what
super
having an OB is, I
inoffensive,
guess.
where it's just an extra energy.
If you get an OB like this, collectible.
Accessory most of the time, they just include it there as a bonus, which is awesome. The most annoying it's been is when they just straight up made Blaster's cassette bot eject out of clear
That's a
plastic.
tiny boy,
This
yeah.
dude is gonna break any day now. They're mixing in more obscure characters with the classic lineup from G1 as well this time. Like, they're giving us updated pretenders with
Whoa.
core class, which is such a cool
Like this, I would not think once again this is a Transformers thing. It looks like out of a different series to me. Yeah.
idea. And headlining Wave 3 are deluxes of Point Blank and Crankcase, who are just some random nobodies from way later down the line, which is amazing. Not that I had a problem with the abundance of G1 for the past 3 years, but I know a lot of people did. And Legacy finally steps in to do something about that, because its whole deal is kind of like bringing together all the different interpretations of Transformers across the years into one big toy line. But mostly still just G1 through some sort of vague
Yeah, the monster
multiverse
type or
story
something,
thing they
yeah.
haven't really explained yet. Although
They look pretty
Transformers
crazy.
Prime figures in Wave 1 did cause a bit of a stir because some people didn't take to them redesigning them to fit in with the G1 aesthetic, which I do kind of understand, but I really like them anyways.
Damn. I guess it's like Araki, right? Like JoJo's creator. He went from like the most buff dudes to making them like slim models, I guess.
Redesigning them to fit in with the G1 aesthetic, which I do
damn.
kind of understand, but I really like them anyway, so I don't mind. I can't wait to see what happens when they do animated. Hasbro has also been attempting to commit to more environmentally friendly packaging while also selling you Power Rangers NFTs, and one of those attempts has involved removing the plastic windows on boxes, which hilariously has caused some people to go around and steal the heads off of bulkheads.
Oh.
Why? The online-only portion of Legacy
That's a big
Generation
boy.
Selects has also been killing it, with redecos of the Last Lines dudes in colors that are meant to like homage Transformers' predecessor, Diaclone, that are a much
Diaclone,
better
no.
fit for harder to find figures instead of like fucking Ratchet. And luckily for me, I could care less about Diaclone, so I feel no guilt in skipping these.
Okay.
Mostly. I don't have a problem with buying more than one of the same mold if it's like a different character, but recently they've been doing this thing where they've been doing toy and comic accurate paint jobs of characters they've already done figures of recently, and like, I don't know why I'm complaining, but like now I'm gonna have 2 of them and it's just a whole thing. There's also another extra retail
How about just don't buy it? Just don't do it. I mean, I get it. Again, like with some of my anime collection, I was never like quite extreme like this guy or many people, right? Like for me, I had so many manga collection where I was missing volumes. DVD collection where I was missing 1 DVD or a season or something. And I always thought like eventually I would find them. Like I used to go so much to like used goods places and like garage sale and stuff like that. So I was always hoping like I would find stuff to complete the collection, and sometimes I did. Like there was some manga collection I managed to to find the volumes I was missing or something. But then it's another thing, right? Like you have to talk to a person selling maybe their own full collection. You have to tell them I only want this volume, this volume, this volume. So they don't always want to. But yeah, when I used to do that, yeah, I wasn't like extreme about it, like owning the full collection or something. Like it was a goal, but down the line, right? Like I wasn't like in a rush to the point of like going to like eBay or something and trying to find like what I'm missing, even if it's super expensive. I was always thinking like, you know, through the years, eventually at some garage sale, I would find the few volumes I'm missing or something. Weirdly, thinking about it, I had a somewhat like healthy relationship with like collecting the stuff. Compared to like a lot of the other things I'm into, I wouldn't say I have an healthy relationship with anything. But I guess with like collecting some of my anime manga collection, I wasn't going crazy, yeah. Like especially for like the completion side of it, which is interesting. Like imagine like you're manga collector and like you get this this level of like, you know, like this guy wants the different colors of the exact same figure and stuff like that, right? So like in a manga collection, the equivalent would be like, I want the different like release. You know, you want like the different language version of it because they have different covers or something. Then you want like the different release. You know, like an old manga, you might have like an edition from 20 years ago, a new edition, a special edition. So you would have like 10 times the same like manga collection. That would be pretty insane, but I'm sure there's some people like that. I'm sure. And it's both like, you know, it's both crazy, but also kind of respect it. You know, it's kind of cool, right? Yeah.
Subline that started around Kingdom that has now sort of bled into Legacy that I wanted to talk about too, because it is just the fucking weirdest toy line ever. Nothing about it makes any sense. The buzzworthy Bumblebee line has a concept that seems understandable enough. It's meant to make up for the fact that he only had one toy in the entire War for Cybertron trilogy.
He looks kind of
an entire line where he has every single toy. But instead of being one consistent line of similar figures, like, you know, everything else, it's made up of a bunch of different releases from across different toy lines. And sometimes has completely brand new molds, and sometimes they're just re-releases of older guys, most of which are completely different and unrelated characters. One of the newest releases are like slightly new paint jobs of Cliffjumper and Cup from a year ago. Okay, well, sure, they were in the movie with him, so I guess that counts. And then you have Silver Streak, who is almost Blue Streak, and Blue Streak and Bumblebee know each other, I guess. And then Dinobot and Pterosaur, well, I don't know, maybe they saw Bumblebee when the Predacons were on board the Ark that one time in Beast Wars. Oh wait, no they didn't, because they were fucking dead.
So they're really making figures for like the most insanely specific things,
Last year's video was more the world of Transformers toys, but exclusively the main line and nothing else. I really only follow the Chug stuff, which for you non-Transformers fans watching is basically a really funny term for all of these types of figures. So I'm really sorry to like Masterpiece and third-party collectors, because I don't know
that's a good one on the right.
Any of that stuff. How is the Masterpiece line doing this year, by the way? Oh, a Japan-only cape that you can only get if you have bought all 3 $400 toys. Awesome. And even aside from just briefly mentioning the 86 movie subline, which is still being awesome this year, by the way, I didn't even talk about the concurrently running Studio Series, which is a line I've only just started getting into
those look pretty good.
Year, which is really funny given that it was actually what started me buying all of this shit in the first place. The basic gist of this line was to do screen accurate toys of the characters from the Michael Bay Transformers movies that are more detailed and size accurate than the previous figures had been before, which means that this and this are both $30. It's for the most part a very clearly defined goal, but there are only so many characters in these movies, and it's really funny when you have these weird little outliers that makes me think Hasbro is running out of figures to do. It claims that they're meant to be stuff that's screen accurate, but then you get shit like Thundercracker, who at no point has ever been in any of the movies, who is Studio Series number 9, and even more recently Nest Bumblebee, who they just completely made up. I like to think they're doing this just so they don't ever have to make skids and mudflaps. Even if it had a bit of a rough start, I've begun to absolutely adore this line, and it's been really fun.
How many thousands of freaking like design is there at this point? Because as you said, they keep doing the same figure with like the slightly different design, the slightly different colors and stuff like that. There must be like literal thousands already, so why would they even need to come up with anything new? Like just keep rerunning stuff, you know? Like if you've run out of idea right now, just bring back stuff from like a line or something from like 20 years ago and keep publishing that. So they seem to have like thousands of design.
A brand new collection to start from the ground up. Even if it's meant I now have a whole bunch of other guys that I found are just impossible to get. Why the fuck is it so hard to get an Ironhide? He's one of the main characters from the first movie. God damn it. This line is so good that I even ended up buying all of the Constructicons, and like, why the fuck do I give a shit about the Constructicons? Most of them aren't even in the freaking movies. These toys have actually been making me really appreciate the designs for the Bayformers movies a lot more, and it's even been making me really want to get into watching them all again. But then I'm probably going to get up to Revenge of the Fallen and then realize that buying all of these was a horrible mistake.
I think I'm wasting the first 2 or 3 Transformers movies.
Recently, the one thing you can count on still being absolute dog shit is the distribution. I have completely...
Maybe it's a very unsanitary thing to say, but the you know, the thing I enjoyed the most about the Transformer movies was Megan Fox in the first movie. That was my favorite thing.
Given up on buying figures at retail at this point, yes. And I don't know what it's like in other countries at the moment that aren't Australia that may have this even worse or not be a problem at all, looking at you, America and Asia. But the distribution of Legacy and Studio Series as of late, and just everything else as well, just doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm going to assume this is another COVID-related thing, but like, it doesn't mean I still can't laugh about it. Legacy was first shown off to us in late 2021, even though we already knew about it months ago from leaks beforehand, but that's not important. We didn't really have a set time for when it was supposed to come out, but bulkheads and blasters started showing up in Europe by themselves for some reason as early as February. Then the rest for some reason started arriving, I want to say like around April, May in the US, which I was generously reminded about every single day.
I wonder if I go to the store if there's just like Transformers toys. I never pay attention, like I never really go to the toy section these days. When I was young and whenever we would go to the store, you know, I wouldn't even go to the toy section since I was into video game. Like, you know, I always remember when I was young, I loved going to the big supermarkets, is what I mean. I would basically, you know, go myself to the DVD and video game section, and they had like a tablet screen, I guess, where you could watch trailers for the game. And I remember like I would sometimes spend like an hour or something, basically watching every trailer and like reading every box of the games and just like looking at them. I remember it was fun. It was like, you know, especially when I was told like you can get one game or you can get two games or something. You know, I would literally spend an hour like just my brain exploding trying to decide which one to get. Like it was either like, you know, the new game is like 60 euro or something, like a new Call of Duty or something. Which, as I said, I used to be dumb. I used to buy them to play solo because I had no internet, so I always bought Call of Duty even though the campaign was like 10 hours max. So there was a choice between that or like getting like two games. You know, there was like older game that they were like half price or something, so you could get two for the price of like a new game. And I remember like it was, you know, every single time we would go to the supermarket and I was told you can get one or two game. Yeah, I would spend like an hour just, you know, in full stress trying to decide which one to get. It's really one of those things, yeah, like I have weirdly good memories of it. Again, like I would think so hard on which one I want. I would like read every like you know, game box. I would read like what was written, look at every image, look at the trailer, and try to decide. It was interesting. It was interesting. No one actually goes to the toy section except for kids and toy collector. Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, I wonder if I go to a store close to where I am, if there's actually Transformers toys. I don't really know if it's that popular. Maybe.
Country that it is. Only just got them in now, like a month ago. In June. Isn't that great? But now, like, Elita 1 from Wave 2 was shown up at JB Hi-Fi relatively early, but without any of the other ones for some fucking reason. Studio Series Sideswipe didn't show up in stores here until fucking
this one looks
April,
sick, yeah.
after appearing in America in September, 6 fucking months ago.
Only $20 too.
Wave as well, with Brawn, Ratchet, and Wheeljack came out in the US in February, and still hasn't come out here as far as I know. But Ravage, who was a part of that same wave, did like 4 months ago.
Alright, so
fuck? But then I went today, and now Kmart has RC, who was in the wave after that one, but doesn't have Ironhide, who came with her. What is happening? Although Legacy Wave 2 Motormaster started showing up here super early and nowhere else in time for Big W's toy sales. So, you know, maybe sometimes it's not all bad. You know that Lego Optimus Prime that was announced like a month ago now, right? How Lego made a post teasing it and then announced it only a few days after, and then it became available to buy online only a couple weeks after
$260.
Awesome that is. Well, whenever Hasbro announces something, it's like, well, I hope you enjoy waiting for that shit for the rest of the year. I feel like if you were only waiting and buying the newest releases, then you would be waiting forever. But for me, at least, there's a seemingly infinite number of older figures I always want to chase down to keep me busy in the meantime. I don't know what is going on, but now I have even less of a reason to ever go outside. I am sure this can't just be a Transformers only problem, but since it's the only thing I follow, obviously, I don't know if this has been happening to everyone. But one of my friends told me there's a Power Rangers figure that took over a year to release after going up for pre-order, so maybe we don't have it so bad.
That is pretty insane.
Distribution is really the worst of it at the moment. I mean, there's some other minor stuff with like yellowing plastic people have had with some of the newer guys when their toys are exposed to sunlight for any longer than 5 seconds, which is why I'm showing you a JPEG of Studio Series Ratchet instead of taking him out of my oxygen-deprived underground bunker. But apparently Hasbro's already gone and fixed that, which is awesome. Nothing much has changed in terms of other options either. eBay is still a complete hellhole, but Marketplace is still been reasonably kind to me this past year. I've stumbled onto some really good stuff by accident, as well as some more absolute...
Not exactly related, but like a little bit related. In France, we have like Le Bon Coin, which is like equivalent to eBay, I guess. It's a site to sell used goods and stuff like that. And you know, despite the fact that I wish I didn't have to, but I need money, I'm selling most of my collection of like anime and manga stuff. And I just had like a shitty experience like 2 days ago. Like some dude wanted my Monogatari collection. I'm selling my Monogatari collection. I've got the Uta Monogatari CDs, I've got Shinobu figure, and I've got like most of the mainline seasons, except the Kizumonogatari movies. So I was selling that, you know, for like 100, I think. You know, basically the experience was that the guy contacted me and he was asking so many questions. I had to like get it out of my box, take so many like more pictures of everything, only for like, you know, him to be like, okay, I'll buy it. Then, you know, I do this thing on the site where it's like, you know, offer the guy, I guess, the price he asked for, because I was like, whatever, I'll sell it to that price, even though it's a bit lower than I was hoping for. And so, yeah, it took a lot of time of conversation and sending picture, only for the guy to be like, wait, €6 for like, for delivery fee. It was €6. That's too much for me. Despite the fact that buying like, he wanted to buy the thing for like 100, and he was saying no at like €6. And so yeah, that was it. I spent like quite a lot of time, like, you know, talking to the guy, giving him the picture he wanted, only for that. Like being a seller is a pain. Like constantly you have people contacting you when they haven't even read the description of like what you're selling, and you know, they're asking the dumbest question when they haven't even read. Or people will like contact you and instantly they tell you, you know, I want half of the price or something. Yeah, well, let's say that being a seller on the site is kind of a pain, especially if you're not like those people like right there, right, trying to sell at like crazy price. Yeah, all I wanted to say.
Crime scenes that I really wanted to show you guys.
That's my rant.
Just keep Toy Story logic in mind when you see these, okay?
Okay. What's wrong with them? Borrowed is missing head. Oh, they're broken, okay. Just use some glue. Another year of exclusive.
Unfortunately, when it comes to the exclusive situation, well, it's not quite as bad as it was in Earthrise, but it has gotten better and worse in different ways. A good, I want to say like 45% of Legacy looks to be store exclusive in some way. I mentioned Gen Selects already, which is online only, but those generally aren't too hard to find. And this year especially, they seem to be sort of not focusing on it as much. And then Walmart or Target here has these 3 random Beast Wars guys, which again, annoying, but not too bad. Walgreens, of course, got another fucking red and white figure, and I still don't understand why a pharmacy is selling toys and not like medicine. Amazon has an entire ass line to itself this time in the form of the Wreckers collection, which are a bunch of redecos of some new, old, and really old figures, which here at least are surprisingly cheap for once. I mean, hey, I'm not complaining, but where I think it's become the biggest problem is with this new Velocitron Speedier 500 collection. It's called that because that's how many they've made in total. This is Legacy's version of the Netflix subline that War of Cybertron had, and for those who
always
remember,
limited edition,
was the one with the Bumblebee and Soundwave figures
an exclusive
that could only be found at specific stores that everybody wanted, but nobody could ever find because the only people that ever seemed to get a hold of them were assholes.
What? Sold.
Bumblebee goes for like $80 average now, and Soundwave an entire fucking housing loan. I was lucky enough to end up getting both of these at some point for retail cost, but now this new line has taken it one step further, because where it's mostly just really cool looking retools of older figures, it now also has 2 entirely brand new molds with overriding Cosmos that now won't be available anywhere else, which feels even worse given that Soundwave and Bumblebee were at least made from pre-existing toys, and that was bad enough. I'm guessing maybe their exclusivity is what funded them in the first place, so I suppose this is better than having them not exist at all, but I'm just a bit worried that if they're going to be as understocked as Soundwave and Bumblebee were, then it's basically going to be the whole thing all over again. Good luck out there, fellas. But at least they're not breaking teams up anymore, so they get a gold star.
I thought it was the word for it, like artificial scarcity or something.
Wonderful local group,
that's what they're doing.
Transformers Collectors Club of Australia, who has been pretty much saving my ass now with figures for just over a year now. They help me get new toys in on time, and sometimes even early by ordering them in from overseas, if you've ever spotted them in the background of videos that otherwise wouldn't come to Australia for the next 5 fucking years. The TCCA does a lot of stuff on Facebook, so I definitely recommend go and check them out if you want. Australians only though, sorry, but I'm sure other countries might have their own equivalent. But yeah, mainly just wanted to say thanks. This hobby would be a lot more frustrating without them. Love you guys.
Leaks and stolen toys.
We cannot talk about the current scene of Transformers toys without bringing up the absolute state of leaks and stolen toys, where it's come to the point where actually finding out about something from Hasbro first has become...
I mean, what things this day doesn't have constant leaks, right? Especially for like things like this, like everything get leaked all the time. That's just the way it is. Obviously, you can just avoid them. Like for myself, you know, with all the gacha and stuff like that, I'm always trying to avoid the leaks. But everything from every company, from anything gets leaked. Like you'd think, who cares enough to leak like Transformer toy release? Like, you know, it's a leak, so it's probably someone from the inside. So like, do they really care about leaking that enough that they're willing to lose their job? It's like one of those things where like when you think about it, it's like, why? Just wait for the announced date. Like, you're not leaking anything that important, I feel like
an event. I don't know how they do it, but months before Hasbro even mentions them, somehow we always end up with a list of names from some website that they got from hacking into Target's system or some shit that contains the releases of every line for like the following year. So now whenever Hasbro announces something on Twitter, I'm just sitting there with a checklist of the leaks, knowing that we already knew about that shit like 6 months ago. That is just for product listings though, but what they actually look like tends to get leaked about 5 seconds after they get made. Sometimes in very rare occasions, they do actually get revealed by the people that made them before someone steals them from the factory, but as I said, that's like a surprise at this point, because there are now a lot of toy reviewers on YouTube, I'm not going to name any names, but I'm pretty sure some of you know who I'm talking about, who just somehow managed to get a hold of toys way before they're meant to come out, or sometimes even before they're even official.
And you're not getting sued for that? Huh? That's interesting. I mean, obviously, like, you know, on paper I would say, does it really matter? It's a fucking toy. But you know how a company can be. I'm surprised Hasbro is not like killing them for it, right? With these leaks. Like, it's not that talking about the leak, it's that they literally have the leaked toy.
Announced and just never explain how for some reason. I mean, they sure aren't review samples from Hasbro, because if they were, they would have said something about it by now. But I'm pretty sure we all know where they're coming from. This has obviously pissed a lot of people off, but here's my hot take. I don't care. You can feel about this in terms of the legality of it, but look, if Hasbro themselves don't mind, which they obviously do not, then at the very worst, we get to see new toys a lot earlier than we otherwise would.
Okay.
The only problem I have with it personally is that it now makes the YouTube scene a lot more difficult for other reviewers who only buy their toys legally. It just means that unfortunately, they have to work a lot harder to stand out. Like one of the best...
I mean, that's the thing with like early access too, like I was watching like a Linus Tech Tip clip once where he was talking about that. Obviously for like all the tech reviewers and stuff like that, when there's a new like graphics card or something releasing, and you know, like most of the big channels will have gotten like you know, early access in some way, so they've already ready their video and all that, and then they've got like an exact time and day that they are supposed to release the video at the earliest. And yeah, it's kind of unfair, obviously. Like, you know, they've got the bullshit advantage of just being big, right? That's what it is with some YouTube channel. And so like any small channel that, you know, they might do good work and awesome review, but the fact is that they, you know, they have to buy the card on release, then they have to take the time to like test it and then make the video. So they're gonna be like sometime a week or two or something late after all the other big channels did it. And yeah, it's just kind of like the thing of like, but it's the same thing about like, you know, the rich only get richer, right? In the sense of like, when you've already made it, you know, you're gonna get so much more things easier to just make it and make it. What everybody else has to like just what's the word for it? Like kind of drag themselves up as much as they can. So yeah, it's really unfair. It's like that for like so many of the different landscape on YouTube, right? Like game review and so much stuff. I mean, game review isn't one of the problem, right? Like anyone who does like some kind of early access review, you know that they're, you know, even if they have a little bit of criticism, they're going to be super nice because obviously they were given early access and they want to keep being given early access. So automatically you can stop trusting the channel. It's YouTube is a mess. Like, I know people say it, but like these days it's like, with how things have become, so much of it, not everything, there's still a lot of good stuff, but so much of it has become like TV in some way, right? Like all of those people who are like, you know, all those YouTubers, like big and small, because now even like 100,000 subs channel can do it. They have partnership with like the brands or whatever they follow and protect. And so obviously, like, even if they tell you, I'm completely honest, you know, they've got literally like their channel and their money and all that is riding on the fact that they keep good relationship with like this company or whatever it is. So like so much of it has become just kind of like TV in a way. Well, like you can't really trust them because clearly they're sponsored or like they have interest in things. And obviously there's still you know, you can definitely find channels that don't do that, who are clearly like, you know, independent and all that, but yeah, so much of it feels like, you know, like I don't want to be like that, you know, like 80-year-old people saying back in my days things were good, but back in the days YouTube wasn't that bad, you know? Like back when I started watching from like 2010 to maybe 2015 or something, it still felt like kind of like the Wild West, right? Like everybody was doing something crazy. There wasn't too much yet of like the sponsorship and you know, the early access and stuff like that. So people felt actually like they were honest and they were cheating on stuff as much as they wanted. But then yeah, like so many channels you follow, they start doing the you know, like one good example I have was a French YouTuber that used to be, you know, the type to like be, you know, known for being super honest, shitting on bad games and stuff like that. And then eventually he started being the type to take like ads from like, you know, shitty mobile game and stuff like that. And clearly you can tell he wasn't honest anymore. Like he would just like the kind of game he would shit on before, and I was like kind of like shitting for. So yeah, like the advance of YouTube into like almost TV like, you know, where so many of these YouTubers don't feel independent because they have, you know, relationship with like the brands, and so they're just trying to be nice, right? It was real. It was today, yeah. Yes.
Reviewers on YouTube right now, Toys R Us, who is this amazing and very buff man who sits on his floor and reviews toys and is honestly living his best life. Absolute legend.
Have you never played it before?
Love. And also on the flip side, Hasbro's YouTube channel, we started doing these live streams every so often where they get the designers to actually show off the new toys and talk about the production behind them and all that. And it's actually really awesome. It might seem like a small thing, but actually getting to hear from the guys that make these things and all of the decisions and work they put into it is actually really cool. Even though everyone in the live chat is always spamming some random bullshit. Stay classy, Transformers fans. Anyway, that's pretty much everything that's happened in a year, I think. I genuinely cannot wait to see the rest of Legacy in like 2 days when the rest of Hasbro's internal servers get leaked. But yeah, I think aside from prices and distribution and exclusives and quality control and yellowing and packaging, I think things are looking pretty good at the moment. Now, if only I could afford it.
For the hobby. Okay, well, interesting enough. I guess with this video and the one last time, I've got a better idea of the whole market and the whole world of, I guess, Transformer figurine. It's pretty interesting. And again, I mean, I might not be crazy about Transformer in terms of design personally, but I can obviously relate to wanting to collect everything. And even though you're like, fuck the company for doing, you know, just like different colored version or something like that, you know, I can understand falling for that as well. Like you're both thinking fuck them, but also I need it or something. Here's the link. Finish building Lego Optimus. Very nice, huh? Very informative.